I want to talk about something that we tried out at the weekend, and that was 3D gaming on the PS3 with a 3D TV. I don't know how many people out there have got 3D set up. Possibly might sort of sway people to buy a PS3 rather than a 360 if they have the choice, just because it's 3D compatible. So I figured people might be interested in my opinion on this. I did intend originally to sort of film it on camera, obviously not the 3D effect, but film the our reactions to it, but yeah, probably a good job that I didn't, because it was a pain in the arse to work out how to get it working in the first place. So obviously you just hook up your HDMI cable. Apparently you need a 1.4 version 1.4 HDMI cable. I had a 1.3, but yeah, it must be a high speed one, because apparently high speed ones can do most of the features of a 1.4. So anyway, once we did get it working, first game that we put in was Gran Turismo 5, and yeah, I wasn't impressed with it really. If you don't know, when you play in 3D mode, you lose some of the graphical features and effects, whatever, depends on the game obviously, but I think Gran Turismo 5 you lose some of the anti-aliasing, so the graphics take a hit. And when we first started playing it, the 3D effect was pretty much non-existent. The only way you could tell it was 3D was because if I demonstrate with my hand, which isn't in 3D now, it's in 2D, yeah, like usually a rev counter and whatever would be like there. Now with 3D enabled, it was like the rev counter was like there, and that was it. Like you could hardly tell, looking at the cars and the tracks in the game, that it was in 3D. It just looked like the rev counter had poked out a bit. So then what we did was went back into the options, and you can adjust the effect, and by default it's set to 3, so we set it to 10, and you could tell it, you know, the 3D effect was there, but you know, you started seeing double of everything. So then we set it like somewhere in the middle, and then eventually we just gave up on it, because it just wasn't impressive at all. Game seemed a bit jerky as well. Playing in 3D, it didn't seem too smooth. So that's Gran Turismo 5. The next one that we put in was Resistance 3. Now this was a lot more impressive, because of the experience that we had with Gran Turismo 5, where there wasn't much of an effect. With Resistance we just whacked it straight up to the full 10 out of 10 or whatever it was on that game. 3D effect setting, and start playing, and you know, there was a dramatic effect on that, especially on the like prison level. The rain was beating down, coming out the screen, and we ended up toning down the 3D effect a bit. It was still evident there, but you know, can't think now. I've lost my brain. Yeah, it's still a bit sort of confusing. If you imagine when everything's in 3D, you've not only got like a 2D layer that you're looking at on your screen, you know, you got the zombies that you're trying to hit with a sledgehammer, and rain's beating. There's just so much going on screen, popping out and stuff. It was just a bit mental. So yeah, I can't imagine if I was going to play the whole game, that I'd play the whole game in 3D. It was just a bit nuts. Game that we did play, which I don't have a box for obviously because it was a demo, was Motorstorm Apocalypse, and this was compared to Gran Turismo 5, you know, straight away you saw the 3D effect put to use in it. Now the problem was with that game, I don't know whether you can in the full version, but you can't adjust the amount of 3D effect in the demo, and the 3D effect was good on your car and all of the background scenery in close proximity, but ahead the detail in the distance just seemed a bit muddled and not very defined. It looked like a bit of a mess. Yeah, so I mean that was okay, sort of fitted in between Resistance 3 and Gran Turismo 5. I didn't get a chance to play any other games because I don't own any more 3D enabled games, but my sort of conclusion on it, if it's going to cost you like 1,500 quid, £2,000 or something, to get the TV you want and a PS3 and some 3D games, I imagine if you went out with the sole purpose of getting this 3D experience, then you would be disappointed. I was not impressed with it. Just the way that you have to set it up, and then the games don't seem to sort of have a uniform way of setting up the 3D, and you know, loss of detail, loss of frame rate. So for me it wasn't a seamless experience, and unless someone goes out and designs a console with the sole purpose of being a 3D machine, it's always going to be that way, because if you imagine Resistance 3 for example, they've gone out, made the game to run in 2D, well 3D and 2D, they've made it, optimised it to run like that at 720p, and then when you turn it into 3D, obviously it's juggling two images, so you lose the graphical detail and some frame rate and whatever. So it's always going to be that way, that games are always going to be designed in, you know, to be displayed on a 2D TV, and then the 3D experience is just going to be like a cut down version. So for me, I won't be running out and getting a 3D TV anytime soon. Just going to stick with my 46-inch LCD. But if you do already have a TV that is 3D compatible, obviously, if you've got a PS3, then you're gonna have probably experienced this. But I don't think for me it would really sway my decision to buy a PS3 over a Xbox 360. I mean, it's all down to personal preference really for me between the two consoles. But yeah, I don't think it's a killer feature on the PS3's 3D. I think the technology's got a bit of time to, bit of a way to go, and maybe then it'll be worth checking out.